means that our spine is slightly twisted according to its vertical axis. That is one shoulder or one hip, or both shoulder and hip just twist one direction. So this deformation is also corrected. Those kind of deformations also create scoliotic bends in our spine. Those kind of compressions, if we have like this kind of deformation, our spine so means kind of bone bend. So those kind of deformations are restored, and the restoration of perfection lasts as long as we have this body. Basically, we need just one single session to achieve that. And the realignment itself comes instantly. It's a matter of a second. Italian and Swiss physicists measured the exact time of the realignment and established that it is 1/18th of a second. Welcome. 1/18th of a second. And this time is too short to realize something or to think of something. It just happens, irrespectively of our belief, of our conviction, it just happens. And our body immediately reflects the absence of those deformations. It regains its symmetry. So basically, it's harmful, and transformation becomes in the most positive way of that body, of that entity, of that being. So, and this is a kind of one part of the healing session, the measuring of the body and realignment itself. And the other, the next part is the healing session, which lasts for about 1 hour. During this healing session, what happens? Energies work with the brain hemispheres, with our brain or our endocrine system. Also, the energy is pushed through the central energetic axis, which coincides with our spinal cord, and you'll get healing through your spine vertebra to all the reflexive zones of the spine, because each vertebra is a reflexive zone of certain organs and organ systems. You can see those our pictures in the internet. There are lots of those. Each vertebra is connected with nerves to our internal organs and organ systems. And if the energy flow is restored in your central energetic line, in your central energetic, and each vertebra then gets the optimum energy level, which is reflected also to all reflexive zones. That means that the self-healing process of your body is restored and enhanced. Your bodies are conscious. They determine to heal. And this determination can be used with kind of medicine, medicaments, but they have side effects, negative side effects. And also this kind of self-healing process can be used by energies. And the body determines to heal because extra impulses, extra flow of energy is what is happening. We are energetic bodies anyway. If we divide our matter into smaller parts, subatomic parts, finally we just find nothing, just energies and transformations. So we are under impact of energies all the time, and just we reflect those energies. And our physical matter also reflects those energies. What else happens during the realignment? It's related to our DNA, to our entire DNA. The DNA structure also slightly modifies. In what way? This modification is similar to that which people get during the Enlightenment, when they practice some practices, do some meditations or other practices. It might be religious practices or just any type of introspective revelation. When the transformation happens, consciousness expands, so get a kind of transformation of your DNA as well, because your consciousness is coded not somewhere in your brain, but it's in your entire DNA. And then what you get with it, you expand your resonance with the space, because you just are transmitters and receivers. You just resonate with a much more wider like field of knowledge, which was like strange to you or not accessible to you. Through this transformation, you get the access to quite a different spheres and get totally different point of view, maybe, and different life quality. What happens in your physical plane? So when you restore your skeleton symmetry under the earthly conditions, we live under some gravity impact, atmospheric pressure, and if we have a symmetrical skeleton, the impact of our earthly conditions is so that some parts which get more excessive loads, tear and wear, like one knee joint, then hip, and so on. So we have some, feelings. Our body tells us if there is energy obstruction or like deformation or uneven load. So it tears and wears unevenly. That's why people just have some knee replacements, hip replacements with some time. So we can avoid all of those. Like when reestablishing the order, the symmetry, we distribute the loads also evenly, and we can just perform as bodies more efficiently throughout this time we have this body. And there are questions if there is any special condition when the realignment can be done or cannot be done. So there are no age restrictions to it. My youngest patient was still in the mother's womb, and the oldest lady I had who got realigned, she was 94, and this realignment was performed very successfully on her. And this method is also a distant method. You can do healing through distance, because I do not touch the body, and it's not important if the body is in the same premise or if it's somewhere else, because the energy comes in the premise where the person who is being realigned, or the energy lands there. So energy does not come from me. I'm only just the intermediate part of the whole process. Because what else happens during the realignment? You just recognize your own perfection by yourself, and it's not a mental revelation. It's just the reflection by your whole essence. Your matter reflects it. This recognition happens throughout all your entire entity, because we are not only physical bodies. We are much more than that. And this revelation is also impacted and revealed through our physicality. Body immediately takes symmetrical structure for structure. And it stays, because you don't have the reason to be deformed. Throughout lifetimes, you get those compressions. If they are released, you don't have the reflection in your physical matter anymore. And if you will have the grace to have another body, so it will be realigned, because it's transferred. It's transferred through the soul memory. You don't have those deforming patterns, and your skeleton will be realigned. And what else? Realigned, about to realigned parents, realigned children are born. So we measured the way we have already. I've been working for 6 years with this method, so I have in my practice also quite a lot of cases, and had a chance to remeasure the babies who were born to realigned children, and they were perfectly aligned. And yeah, to realigned parents, yeah. So it means that also it's a part of DNA structure, like alternation, which is transferred genetically to children. So this realignment is very beneficial to everybody, to school children, to anybody who is in sports, dancers, actors. So who are living active life, or who are doing some mental work during the healing session, synchronization of brain hemispheres happens, and all the cognitive processes enhance. Memory also. Memory processes also enhance, and the work with head glands and all our endocrinic system also balances the body performance. Especially work with our brain, like our brain glands, our hypophysis, epiphysis, hypothalamus. So this is our central computer of our like bodily systems. Or the endocrinic system is governed from there. When you get balance of those systems, you get balanced. Just remaining parts, and it lasts. The work of energies, it won't like finish within this healing day. The energies work in the physical body for about 6 years, 7 months, about 6 months, 7 months. So sometimes up to 1 year. So it continue, and you'll feel like the improving situation day by day. Because some things in our body, like inflammations or some other statuses, they are like more inert, and sometimes this 1/18 of the second is not enough to release what we have generated by our lifetimes. So, but normally, well, it was established by some metabolic alternations and other activities, like and in some even spine restoration level, that the process continues throughout 6-7 months actively. So you'll be able to like observe improvement. Some things happen instantly, like the realignment itself, and sometimes I have also this transformation is provable by all medical diagnostic equipment. If you do X-rays, if you do MRI, if you do computer tomography, all the equipment shows the change. And when this method was established and legalized in Germany on the state level in 2004, so there were like different also TV shows, and there were like legal evaluations of the effectiveness of this method, and there were X-ray machines, several X-ray machines, and volunteers who agreed to get X-ray twice before and after realignment, and there were medical doctors' commissions who were examining the X-ray photos and determining the change, commenting on the transformation, and so on. It was like well established. In Germany, at least, they underwent this kind of approval. And if you I also had several cases when the computer tomography results were like presented after just the next day after realignment, and in case of herniated spine and sclerotic spine, well, the research showed that those hernias went off, and the sclerotic spine, which was very painful, and this deformation went off. So, and it was not like, not everybody does this kind of examination, but I had one lady in Long Island. She was driving to the healing session, and she got an accident on a highway when lots of cars just bumped into each other, but this bump was not very serious. But the next day she had, because of insurance, she had to undergo this health check, and she reported about this change, that my 2 hernias and sclerotic spine is gone. And she worked like a hospice nurse. She was in the hospital for many years, directly just dealing with patients, and just it happened to her, and then she just announced that this is the also medical proof of the transformation. And also when we measure the body, so it's important also for your mind to accept the transformation, because not everybody is conscious how the body is deformed. When we measure the body with rulers, the body is measured during the demonstration, you will see how it happens. So the body is measured with rulers in 3 positions very thoroughly. In a standing position, what can we measure? We can measure the height of shoulders, the height of shoulder blades, And also tilt of pelvis in this way, if the pelvis is tilted, so the angle between the knee and the ruler is different. So and when the pelvis is realigned, so the angle between the knee and the ruler is the same on both sides. And we press rulers tightly to upper and lower hip bones so that the rulers do not sway. And then it's very easy to measure this angle between the knee and the ruler. And as in a standing position, we cannot measure the length of legs. We're doing this in a sitting and in a laying position on a massage table. And if the pelvis is tilted, so the length of legs is different, and it's very obvious. I draw the lines on the contact area. We have like the edge which touches the surface on the heel, so I'm taking it as the bottom line and comparison line of the length of legs, and I measure the length of legs before and after realignment, and to determine axial twist of spine. It's not always very obvious in a standing position, but if the pelvis is tilted according to its vertical axis in a sitting and in a laying position, you'll get different length of legs, just the other leg. If you visualize how the transformation happens in the sitting and in the laying position, you'll get different length of legs in case of axial twist. If there's no axial twist, the length of legs remains the same. And I will measure immediately after realignment what happens with length of legs. And also person can get off the massage table, the shoulders, shoulder blades, and pelvis is getting realigned instantly. And the healing session is taking place afterwards, lasts, as I said, for about an hour. So this is the routine of the whole healing session. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask them. And
so I have a question. So can because it is more of a spiritual work rather than the body work, can the person themselves able to do that? Like essentially set an intent, in the meditation, like would you be able to align yourself if there's no other practitioner?
Well, during it's a very interesting question, and I made this discovery just last year. And I was in a kind of retreat in Portugal, and it's the retreat is like a spiritual retreat. It was with spiritual teacher Muji, maybe you know him. Yeah. Oh. So his Zen Advaita teacher, maybe if to name it to try to fit it in teaching into the, or like a pointing into some frame. So many beings who are beings of expanded consciousness are there present, and just for years, and just some of them are following him, or others they are coming to those retreats, and I was observing I've been to those retreats for quite a number of times in Portugal and India, and I just started looking at the people alignment, and just because it's very obvious when you just are into that, you can notice on the street that people have distorted shoulders, or men if they have a belt on the pants, or the belt sits diagonally because the hips are uneven, so normally the belt is on the bones, and you can see that all those deformations. Or in the cinema, you can see that people in front of you are not even. So I was looking at those persons in there, and just when consciousness expands, you are getting back to alignment as well. It happens both ways. You can do it through the practice that might take lifetimes, and you can do it in 1 18th of a second. And you have it in your hands, and what you will do with it is up to you. Just you pull. Now you put the cart in front of the horse. You don't just have to do all this work, spiritual work, or just to get it by because it's in your DNA. You get it in your material essence with the realignment. It happens so.
But I guess the question was, can you do it for yourself without the going through the training?
Well,
let's say if you are not aligned, you feel like you measure yourself and like you're not aligned, would you be able to like fix yourself in a way?
Well, basically,
So
I'm
just as a consciousness expands, right?
yeah. So it happens. So that's we are like we're just much more than our body, and it's always our body is as a consequence, and we if we go to the root of it, it's always consciousness. And if we like deal this level up, so the body immediately takes the shape. So you always have to be one level up if you want to solve any kind of problem. So you have to be on little bit other dimension, because the solution is not on the same level where the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was talking about the consciousness and about the realignment. Yeah, on like when this method, which I'm teaching, the spiritual realignment, is transferred through attunements, initiations, and without them, I would not be able to realign myself. Now I can do it on I can do it on myself, or like I can do it using like a photo or something. But actually, realignment happens once in your life. Then you can, you cannot repeat the realignment because it has already happened. You can only transmit or ask the same energy to land upon you. And this kind of evocation of that energy, I can do it for myself as well as for others. So, okay. but you, maybe this is, did I answer?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, yes.
Yeah, but it's not, it's not a kind of physical or exercise matter. It just happens.
But you do have specific techniques that you go through that you've been trained to do the alignment. I think maybe that might be what she's asking too. So it's not just intent, that you have an intent to heal yourself and straighten yourself, but when you do the actual alignment, you're doing things and you have your own protocols. I think that's maybe what she's.
Yeah, during the realignment, the realignment itself happens instantly, and it's 1/18 of a second in the physical body. It's 1/18 of a second, and any just process, it would take longer. It would take longer than this 1/18 of a second. And whatever I do consequently is the balancing of energies in your spinal cord, because the immense flow of energy comes through your matter, and those energies are leveled and smoothened in your physical body, and it also happens distantly. Then this movement of the hand means that the real realignment has already happened. It's there, and then the healing session has its routine and technique, which is being taught. You can learn and you can apply it on others as well as to myself. So in this case, you can heal yourself also with those energies, or with transcendental energies, with the kind of energies. You can apply them to yourself as well.
And while you're doing it for other people, it comes through you. So there is a healing process for yourself also.
The healing it's just the healing session. Well, the realignment is one thing. Energy lands from outer space. The healing session just is the transmission of energy in 3 levels at once. So one, during the healing session, I sit for some time behind person's head, and my heart chakra, my mahata, is realigned with the person's central energetic axis. I push energy through the central energetic axis, which coincides with the spinal cord. With my palms, I direct energy to some body place and get feedback to my empirics, and can interpret it and direct the energy and work for some required time on that place, on that organ system. And like the third level, I'm working through the hologram with my eyes and with the subtle bodies of people, just with our mental, our emotional body, and transformations also happening there. And then if there are any roots that can deform our physicality, transformations are being done there, and problems do not reach our physical matter. So this is like the third level of that, the same healing session. So it's a bit different from Reiki healing. Just it might have some resemblances, but it's
How is it different from like a Reiki or pranic healing? Do you work on the energy body, or do you focus on some, is it the same concept of like the chakras, what you do, or you work with certain chakras?
yes, chakras in our etheric body and glands in our internal and our physical body.
Right.
So if you work on your etheric body, on certain places, you work with your endocrinic system, your internal body. So it's just the matter of naming. Yes, in those terms, I work with chakras, and simultaneously I work with internal organs and systems, and also with the central energetic axis. Flow of energy in our central axis is enhanced, but each vertebra is energized properly, gets extra reflex to all the reflexive zones, and just all the healing of the body enhances also. And we are getting like this energy from the space as long as we have our physical body. So if this energy intake and flow is balanced, so the self-healing processes are also enhanced in our body. And during the realignment, this restoration of our central energetic channel happens. As some books write that we are getting 70% of our life energy from the space, 20% from the sun, and from light from the sun, and only 10% from physical food. And if we restore 70% energy, we are balancing and restoring the intake of this part. So we are just working with a vast range of our like physical being. So this whole like energy healing implies to that part, and it has no negative side effects.
You probably answered the question. There's not a negative, of course, side effect, but after the treatment, can person feels a little off for like day, 2, few hours, like going on with like the detoxification process, or is completely nice and calm and bliss? Just kind of
People
curious.
feel differently. For example, after what I felt myself after realignment, I had a feeling for about a week that all my body, all my bones were as if reassembled. I was like, yeah, and I had this feeling that my brain got used to it and it went off. And just I looked for the solution of my own problems in realignment. I had a hip problem, just my right hip joint was kind of displaced from certain movements, like when getting off the car or something. So it was very painful to get it back into place, and I could do it only in a laying position and so on. So after realignment, just I never ever had this problem. So, but on my like skeleton level and some sensations I had in my body, so it was very, very strong sensation. Then my brain got used to the changed like situation, and just it looked as it was normal. During the realignment, some people experience some sensations. It might be some pleasant energy work, some heat, some light. Some people do not feel anything, but it's just, it depends on sensibility, and lack of sensations. Lack of sensations does not show that, well, it went somehow wrong or just it did not work well. It's just a sensibility, which may be different. Kids usually they feel some touches, some energy work, and some people laugh just somehow. So like the experiences are different. Normally what happens after the healing session, people become very calm, like and well balanced, well mentally balanced, because the work on mental plane is also being done, and they can feel it.
We have a couple people here who have been through. Maybe just a few words. How did you feel after? Was it really side effect that you didn't like?
Well, when I had it done, I was laying there and Diana asked me, so how do you feel? I said, well, you haven't touched me yet. And she says, well, the alignment's done. And my legs, they realigned. There's about 3/4 of an inch difference in length. And since then, I've just felt stronger. And I'll go out, and I've recently been shoveling the heavy snow, and I actually get energized while I'm shoveling the snow and feel better afterwards, where in the past, I come in and my back will be sore and I have to rest. But it does continue, the healing and things continue to happen. I'd say, this happened in September, I still feel changes.
I felt the boost of energy after the session itself. It was very good. And I didn't have to make a special movement to straighten my back. It was just there. It's good.
And I mentioned that the bones themselves, they neither contract nor prolong. If you have your ribs wider on one side, or it might happen, it's very seldom, but maybe 1 out of 10,000 or 1 out of 15,000 people have different length of bones. So the length of bones does not affect just the symmetry is restored. Whatever is on blockages level, it's released and the body gets symmetry. Like that's why we measure the shoulder level, shoulder blades level, pelvis level. So those parameters should be parallel to the surface. So in those aspects, the realignment happens. And also the sclerotic spine, which is outcome of those deformations of tilted pelvis and tilted shoulder blades, with irregular shape and axial twist. So those deformations being removed, but not its length of legs or in bones terms, it's not affected.
So let's do the demo maybe, and then I had a question. I know you kind of mentioned that it changes the DNA. That's how it makes it permanent. So you've kind of done a little bit of other energy healing mode, which is it works, but it is kind of temporary. You have to constantly keep doing it. The blockages come, you take it out. So in this case, how does that work? That it can say permanently realign and take out the blockages, or
the blockages you have accumulated through your lifetimes up to this moment, you are released from them, and your body reflects this transformation. You can accumulate some other things during this life. During this life, but just whatever was your imagined past, so it's gone. And why I say it's permanent. I'm remeasuring people after some time. I'm working myself I've been working for 6 years myself. So I have some people, my friends, my classmates who were realigned. So I have a chance to remeasure them from time to time without any additional interference. So the deformation never comes back, it's permanent. And I've also measured some people who were realigned with my teacher in Germany, maybe 15 years ago from now. So it's quite a long period, and they're also realigned, no deformations are there. Like so in this respect, I can tell you that it stays, and also that it happens on DNA level, that like, well, the babies that want to align parents, they are perfectly aligned, they don't have deformations. And otherwise, you can see very, very obviously if you take a baby, stretch legs, you can see that the buttocks do not coincide. Like the wrinkles on the backside of knees, they also do not coincide, and the ankles do not coincide. Already the baby's form. Never sat on the desk or the school desk or carried a bag on one shoulder or something. It just, well, we come to this life like that, and then we develop, and those formations develop as our bones grow. But we come to this life like that. We are like that because we have our past. And our mind, our thoughts are material, and they make impact on our matter. And when we are released from those compressions, our matter immediately reacts to that absence of pressure and gains symmetrical state. But it's not a mental recognition. It's not a mental process. It just happens.
Somehow related to like a karmic changes kind of thing? Or?
It is related. It is related because you are released from that part of karma which is reflected on your skeleton compressions. And it's the grace. You don't have to work on it, but you have free hands. Just being without this deformation, you have free hands to do something else you want in this life, not just to repair your body. Especially in the second part of our lives, we spend lots of time and energy and money on like reparation and repairing of our bodies. So it's just with the energy healing, we have free hands to do some other things. Of course, our tool is repaired. Yes.
And I do want to say, when I came for the healing, I didn't have any background or any of the theory or anything like that. So this didn't take any belief at all, because I had no knowledge, or really, I just talked to somebody who's talked for about a minute, and then I signed up. So, there's a lot of different concepts coming around that some people might not be familiar with, and it takes no belief for this to work. It just works.
I think it's the best when you start taking any beliefs. You're supposed to be kind of free of beliefs.
Exactly. It just happens.
Especially as a
I used to be very mental and scientific myself when I saw my Reiki. I had Reiki then, and my Reiki teacher, he said, maybe you should go to Lithuania to do the realignment. It might help you, your hip condition and so on. I said, okay. I hadn't heard about it, and I went. And it was in a huge conference hall in a hotel. There were many massage tables, and I was looking at the people being realigned for 2 days. I maybe saw 70 people because I couldn't believe, my eyes couldn't believe. I thought that's an optical illusion, it's a trick. So I couldn't believe that. So until my critical mind got through it, so it took 2 days, and I watched, I asked permission. The teacher said that just switch off your phone and just you can watch. So it was not so simple, and I can understand that. Well, it was new for me. This kind of healing was new for me, and I couldn't realize how without any touch the transformation happens, and the length of legs immediately becomes even. I thought it's like an optical illusion or something, not real. So it took a while for me to accept it, and it's normal that people are skeptical because we've been taught at schools a bit differently, and just now we are somehow developing different aspects to our knowledge and to science. And what's revealed scientifically is the same knowledge as it used to be for centuries. So, but just the angle of looking at it is different. But we are coming to the same, like, same inferences. That we are energetic bodies, that energy is all that is, and we manifest through it as it in it, in different ways and in different aspects, and our bodies are like the tools to discover it. And until our body is born, it is good for that reason. Just we want to keep it in a certain condition that it feels no pain and it lets us perform efficiently. And some also scientific research has been done, maybe not very thorough, but during realignment everything happens like also on atomic level and in the nucleus of cells of ligaments, but the transformation is on atomic energy level change. So it's not somewhere in the muscles, but it's in deeper structures, in the physical terms. But it's induced in our subtle planes as the blockages are removed from the compressions we've accumulated through lifetimes. So, any more questions? Or it's time for lottery?
It's time. Here, somebody.
So, okay. Whoever agrees to participate in the lottery, it means that he or she agrees to be the person for demonstration of realignment.
I volunteered.
Yeah. So for me to take one.
Yeah, I want you to take one.
Drum roll,
Okay, last four digits, 405052.
52, yes!
It's me. Okay.
Yeah, so I will measure you in front of everybody. I will measure your shoulders, shoulder blades, and your hips, and then the length of legs in both positions, sitting and laying, and then before and after realignment. Do you have any insoles in your
No, at
sneakers?
this point, I can take my sneakers off.
If you can take
That's what I put the quick one.
like sometimes people have some insoles that may.
Yeah, I recently got prescribed.
So maybe can you turn towards the wall so that everybody could see you? Shoulders seem to be of pretty much the same height. The left one is a bit higher, the right is a bit lower. And if I measure shoulder blade tips, do you feel like, yeah, if I'm putting the ruler under the shoulder blade tips, the right side is lower, the left side is high. And could you please put your feet
Together?
together, yeah. If I'm placing the rulers maybe from the other side, and then there's a gap on the left side, smaller.
This way?
Can you see the gap between the ruler and the knee over here? I'm pressing the rulers firmly, and on the right side, the gap is like more than double, maybe 3 times wider over here.
Can you turn this way?
And the spine. It turns to the left and goes back to the right on your waist, the lower waist area.
Yeah, I got diagnosed with mild scoliosis at this point.
Would you please take off your socks and sit in the middle of the massage
Can
table?
you do it this way? Is that?
Okay, sure. So that your feet are here. And I have a name for it.
Jonathan. Joe is fine.
But then
Double N.
this is for the photo of the feet. Normally people do not recognize the setting of their feet and they say that they can't align. So I'm always taking a photo of the segment just for
If I knew I would go from 30.
the marker is permanent, but to wash off this on 2 days. So just relax, as much as you can. You shouldn't do anything real.
You can guys come up and
You
look.
can come up and look at.
Just get close. It's okay, get closer.
Yeah, you can come closer to see what's
It's
happening.
okay. Okay. You'll just confirm to the camera that it's.
Can you see that the right leg is longer by this? Yeah.
Just watch.
It's the same, the leg position is the same. Also, you can see that elevation from the knees. Ready for realignment? Put your arms on the body and just be within your bodily sensations. And notice something you can share with us. Yeah, that's it. Did you feel anything?
Yes, definitely. I felt like some energy also to just pulling a little back and forth like that. I kind of like either. This is very clear. And
Could you please sit up? Yeah, move it to the backwards. Yeah. And now you can see that maybe it's easier to sit. But maybe it is easier to sit.
just pretty good.
And you can just come and see.
Yeah, it's right. It's easier because before I was on like possibly but support myself.
And now you don't need this body support. Just breathe. And your knees are open sometimes. And also like, you see, the difference was like, and if you could stand up for remeasurement of your shoulders and shoulder blades, some tensions in the body may stay, but conditions are also different. The whole change, obvious change, happens after the healing session, because well, now there might be some tension in muscles and in ligaments, because well, they are trying to like return to the previous position. So there might be some tension, but after the healing session, it will go off. And let's see if now your shoulders are perfectly of the same height, and shoulder blades. Can you feel that I'm pressing my fingers under your shoulder blade tips? So, can you see? Do you feel that it's under shoulder blades?
Yes.
So now the roller is parallel to the floor. If I measure now the hips, I'm pressing the rollers to the upper and lower bones of the hips, and now the gap between the knee and the ruler is the same on both sides. Over here. And you can also bend your head and look, that's like now.
Right.
And your spine line is completely straight to the very end. Like, and if I measure the spine line, I'm going in the middle, like in whatever. It's totally straight at the end. There's no scoliosis nothing.
I feel really grounded now. Like really grounded in this. Oof, I didn't feel like that for a while.
And after the realignment, you should stay for the healing session also. They just will, it like seals up all the things. And I will work, I will do the healing session for you. So,
Thank you so much.
about that. And if you have any questions now, you are welcome to ask.
So when you do the healing, do you feel sensations, or do you see the visions, or like how is your senses are going when you doing that? Is it different for every person?
In a way, I'm not present at all in this plane. What happens that me and the person who's been healed, we come to the level zero, the absolute nothingness, when all the transformations are possible. Everything can happen. So just the recognition happens when we remove our mind. So in the mental case, I just don't see anything and don't feel anything because it's out of any kind of sensations. But then what happened? And the realignment, it happens instantly. It's 1/18th of a second.
Mm-hmm.
And during 1/18th of a second, you can't have any thoughts or any sensations, any describable sensations. And this movement of the hands, of the finger, is just the balancing of energies after realignment. Realignment is already there, and this is the balancing of energies. And during the balancing, I can feel some things that are in the physical body. Yeah, it's well, this movement and just this balancing gives some feedback to my empirics that I can interpret as the condition of the body. So in this kind of terms, so I have kind of sensation, but during the realignment, no.
And even when you started doing that, well, you were a Reiki practitioner, you said before, so you have been working with energies before you started. So it's a little different from, my question probably wouldn't apply, like let's say you have, because obviously what you're doing is not like some God's gift, it's a learned skill, if I understand that correctly, right? So it's just like essentially most people can, if they're willing to learn, they can learn.
Yes,
skill,
absolutely.
Right?
If anybody wants to learn it, so this is a chance to start. You'll be the first in the United States who are taking this course, because there's no one in the States so far. There's one lady in Vancouver in Canada, in North America. There are some people in Brazil, because our teacher, Chadlena, right? She's Brazilian German, and then her parents live in Brazil. So there are some people already in Brazil who can do that. Just they were recently trained, a couple of years, so they are just doing that. And in the Americas, it used to be just one lady in Vancouver. There's no one else in the States.
I have a question because we have the briefing invitation from the class next week, yes? It's 2 days class. Can we do what you're doing after the two days, or just, it's not so obvious, not so profound?
Basically, this is the level 1 course. You need to undergo 4 levels. And I can briefly describe what is in level 1. In level 1, you get Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. Between the training course symbols, you'll be initiated into the first and second level Reiki, and the second level Reiki symbols, and also to additional symbols. And you'll learn how to channel energy, how to become a official channel, how to work with the frames and pendulum, how to use those in your everyday life, how to use those in healing practices. Also, you'll get introduced to the healing system and science, Austrian physician and healer, and he developed his own system of healing science, which can be like as a starting point to apply symbols and symbol vibrations, working with energies and with the physical plane. Also, you learn how to clean premises with energies, how to do the distant healing, how to do healing for family members, for friends, also for all living beings, for your pets, and you'll be able to practice it, and just whoever finishes the 2 days course, you'll get the certificate of Reiki 2. Who wants to have it, who doesn't have it, will just and also the level 1 energy healing. And this initiation, those attunements, what they open your physicality, your physical matter to be an efficient tool of energy channeling, of energy transmission. It also expands our consciousness, and it just gets all the access maybe to the spheres where the transformation happens in our physical and are reflected in our physical plane. So this is basically the first level, and those levels, those stages are necessary just to prepare your own matter to attune with those energies which are performing this healing of realignment. So the stage 1, then you have to be with those energies and to settle those energies for a certain period, for a couple of months. The second level is the preparation of healing oils, healing films, healing cards. You'll learn how to transfer the information into some objects, how to make healing films with vibration which enhances or adds to some feature, some desired feature through your very body. You transfer the vibration, you code it to the film, to aluminum foil, and make some kind of cards. And it can be even used with the chemical formulas of drugs, of medicine. And this kind of information transfer is gentle, has no side effects, but it has the impact as the pharmaceutical product itself. Sometimes people are not able to use some drugs because of allergies or some difficult conditions, stomach issues or something. So you can add this with certain information. It can be general healing information, it can be certain vibration, energetic vibration of chemical formula. It's transferred into and it works. So you learn how to program matter, how to program water, how to structurize water, how to make this healing aid to all, or supportive aid to all the situations. You can make cards or like the healing pose to your kids, or like kind of energetic self-protection, self-confidence, and also health, also concentration. You can do just different things, and they are effective, and they are totally harmless, and they are supportive. So this is the second level, and also the enhancement of distant healing. Like, you'll practice with people who are not present in that room. They are at some distance, and just how the healing is performed, and then you'll get feedback from the people. And the level 3 is work with crystal energy. It's attunement to crystal energies. Crystals are like solid light, and they contain information of millions of years. And working with crystals, you can transform this knowledge and this energy to your third body, and your physical body accepts that vibration to your third body. And you can make surgeries with crystals on your body, on your joints, on your internal organs. You are doing the surgery on your aura, on your third body, and your physical body immediately takes that transformation. It's very effective, it's very efficient. With joints, with the also subtle planes, with crystals, you can heal your family, your name, your work area, your colleagues, all your environment. Do the transformations, and they are reflected through your physicality very actively and very powerfully. And also you learn how to do elixirs, how to do the solutions of minerals, and how to apply them on your body, solving different issues. And then you learn how to work with crystal consciousness, like during this crystal healing seminar, and you will get also healing cards of crystals, and physically to create a field of energy of crystals, you have to have a set of crystals, but it's not necessary, because you'll get crystal cards which are charged with the same crystal energy, and you will just have a like light set of cards which create field of energy of crystals. They're very powerful, and you'll practice with it. So it's level 3, and level 4 is spiritual alchemy. You'll learn how to transform spaces, how to cleanse spaces from electromagnetic contamination, how to transform ley lines, apartment lines, earth radiation, radio radiation, which earth emits. You won't need feng shui. You will be able to transform the spaces with energy so that they are like benevolent and do not do any harm to your physical being because of telepathic structures or electromagnetic pollution. So transform this kind of parameter of your being, and you will efficiently can do the cleaning of spaces through distance, and you can clean your own houses, land lots, courts, schools. So just you can bring in this transformation to all the fields of your life. And from your physical plane, this method removes heavy metals. This is I'm working with the same technique like during the healing session. So also heavy metals from your cells eliminates efficiently. So what I mean by enhanced metabolic, so those processes just start, and your body just forces to leave the sediments of heavy metals, which we get from different dyes, from also
From everywhere,
from
those things, water.
from paints, from dyes, from formaldehyde that is in the furniture, also exhaust gases everywhere. We will get some impact. So we're able to clean from it very efficiently. And during the realignment and the healing session, the process happens also, the same process. So this is the level 4, and the level 5 is initiation, attunement to realignment. So basically, it's step by step, like adjustment of your physical plane, adjustment to this transformation to happen.
Just to higher kind of vibration and this kind of be more like really open vehicle for the.
So this is a kind of
Yeah.
like technique developed by our teacher, and those steps are like required steps to get the initiation into realignment. Everybody passed through those steps, so this is the requirement. And I'm giving the course up to level 5. By now, just our teacher and his son is doing the attunement to realignment. And I talked to my teacher last October, and he said that he'll come to the States to initiate people to realignment if somebody just reaches level 4 and goes through level 4. So he will come to the initiation. Or if some or Alexander Toskor may come, so it's like within the frames of the school, because no one else is doing it by now. So that's a great way. We have licenses to teach to those 4 levels by now. Nobody has to teach level 5 now, except of the initiators. So I hope that.
And one more technical question. So how long of the process it is? How many months, or I don't know, years?
All four levels you can do in approximately 1 year. If you do it efficiently, because you get what it means during the course, you get the clue, you get the initiation, attunement to the symbols, and you get methods, techniques, how to work, and then you have to use them. Because the study is not the theory, it's practice, and you have to apply it in practice. When the energies work through you, your matter gets the attunement to those energies by itself, by its space, and the transformation happens. And it changes permanently you, because you are the change by yourself. And just during the realignment, what has to happen? You should be able to bring yourself and the person being healed together to this level 0, to that absolute state where everything becomes possible. So just it takes to reach maybe that level takes some time. So this is the feature of our inert matter, but it happens, you can achieve it. And in Germany, people, they do it, determined people who are determined to study, like it's 1 year.
What is level 0? Like the cosmic energy or the higher soul? What can you refer to that? What is it?
Well, this level 0, that it's not, well, you recognize your own perfection, but it's not a mental recognition. Because all the work you do, if you reach some result, it's beyond your mental level. You transcend your mental level, you transcend your physicality. Yeah, you get to that state of consciousness where everything becomes possible. You become the creator. And you recognize your own perfection, because in your very nature, in your essence, you are perfect. You have no flaws. You have no diseases, you have no illnesses, you have no deprivations. You are absolutely perfect. But just our mind just puts some kind of shade. And when we remove that veil, so this recognition happens. But it's not a mental recognition. And our body reflects it. And it's instant. It's not related to our imaginary time and space. It just happens. And it stays because you cannot forget it, because this is what you are. You are returning to your essence, and you just stay in that level, in that essence, and you perform further from that essence, from that level. So it's with you. It has always been with you, but just something has veiled it, and we don't see it, we don't recognize it. And during this process, this recognition happens, and it's instant.
But you're also able to connect that state of the other person who themselves have not recognized that
But
state,
just
right?
well,
When you're trying to give.
in our, like, in reality, there are no others. There are no me, and there are no other person. Just we are all one and the same one. Just we hallucinate as separate.
So the level one is like removing the old beliefs we have in us to our grandma, grandpas, the government, communities, etc., etc. It make us like zero platform, and we get back to our perfect creation.
You recognize your own perfection, yes, but you still perform. You are a practical human being. You have your practical mind, your environment, your family, your your grandparents. Like everything like has its own meaning, and we recognize that we are not just the bodies. We are much, much more and much, much faster. So vast that everything what is in our consciousness. And all it happens there. And we reflect by our physicality to that recognition. So the change happens. And it stays, because you cannot forget it. You cannot forget what you are. Sometimes we forget it, but when we rediscover it, we never forget. It stays. So Rita, if anybody is interested in the course level 1, I will show you.
Yeah,
Course level 1
it will be next weekend,
next weekend. So
March 2nd and 3rd.
I will show
And
you.
if anybody, there is a massage for 2 hours on Saturday, metamorphic massage. If it can be just that for, I don't know, for anybody who want to learn it. Can you explain
2
it?
hours
Yeah.
before the course, before the start, everybody should attend metamorphic massage of the reflexive zones of the spine. It's the initial level. Some people already finished it, so. And you'll get a kind of manual, level 1, which has like all things to contemplate and work on, and also a graphical form of symbols, graphical form of healing techniques, the schemes of healing techniques and creating spaces, collaborative science, 3 2 level symbols, and additional symbols you work with, and you'll get initiation or attunement to it. And you'll get this manual, which will be for your personal use. Other people would have somehow no benefit from reading it, because it goes with attunements. It's not a conventional textbook that gives some direct instructions. It's just the pointing, where to look when finding something. So you'll get this manual, and you'll get certificate, which is well widely recognized, and it's the certificate of our school of spiritual realignment. And there is a network of healers, and you will become part of this network of healers of spiritual realignment. So you'll get level 1 certificate, this level 1, and whoever needs or doesn't have, basically we undergo 82 level. It's included into that course, so whoever needs will get his national level 2 certificate as
Are you here next weekend for spiritual alignment? Because I won't be able to stay today.
You can only come on weekend?
Yeah, because the traffic is so bad and I work during the week.
Well, you cannot stay today.
So
You can,
it'll
we'll
yeah.
basically done.
We are concluding already, and we can do them.
But then she's still.
Well,
sick.
she'll, okay. We'll figure out with her, she may.
Yeah, because you.
She doesn't need,
Yeah, you will get a healing session as well. But
Yeah.
just we are here on the time.
I'm giving
How
her the
long does it?
You're
on the
okay.
side for me.
no, you're fine.
How long does it take?
The realignment and the healing session combined 1 hour.
Yeah.
1 hour.
Basically, the longest,
Yeah, I
when
know. Well, I know,
it's
but
more
I-
efficient always when I do the lecture first and the healing then, because for talking it's more.
To do it.
than the healing.
Oh,
Okay.
So 1 hour, you can have 1 hour, so.
I just figured she needed to go through the healing part.
I will start. Okay. Can you stay longer?
Not 2 hours, but.
Can you stay for 1 hour or just to
I would
come
like
back?
to do, it is what I'm saying, I cannot come back. I would love to stay because I have also an agreement of work like and I have to be somewhere with someone. And then I have
Can you come another day or just to do the rent for fun? It would be better for you to get it.
When is it available? Other than
During the week, the whole week till March 6th. Or today.
I have to just call, I have to call and
You'll be able to
So,
do today's
and,
alignments, right? Yeah, because I wasn't sure.